Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to do reloads on the Steyr AUG. Now there is a video out there where a guy is doing several different reloads and showing how to do it. Well, I'm going to do it and I'm going to explain along the way. So anyways, there's two different versions of the Steyr AUG out there. There's a NATO model and a standard, and this is one of them. One of the standards and the NATO actually have telescopic fixed sights. So this is a 1.5 power, not the 3 power, but the 3 power is just the same. It just has higher magnification, same size and everything. So I specifically chose the one with the fixed sight for a reason, because the rail actually might impede on one of the methods I'm going to show you. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and show you the first method of how to reload the Steyr AUG, and I'm going to use the standard version with their proprietary magazines, but we'll get into how these methods work with the NATO version, which just use AR-15 style magazines, and it doesn't have a bolt release, it just has another magazine release. So you have the one under here behind the magazine, and also a release where the bolt release is, a magazine release where the bolt release is, roughly. So anyways, let's go ahead and get to the first method. First method we're going to do is a slingshot method. So I'm going to go ahead, I got an empty magazine, so I'll just lock this to the rear, and then I'll go ahead and set up, boom, boom, boom. Now there's two methods that you can use. You can retain the magazine, or you can retain the magazine or just dump it. And for this one, I'll go ahead and just dump it. So first you dump the magazine, you drop it out, and then you get the next one, and I rub my arm along the sling where the lever is, kind of pushing it out of the way, and then I hook my pinky and ring finger on, and then I just give it a nice little pull. Pretty much everything on the Steyr AUG is at 90 degrees. It's very comfortable when you're actually under stress to perform, because typically your body's not going to want to go beyond 90 degrees, at least in my experience. So anyways, that's one of the versions. So then of course you can do a retention on this one, and this basically just looks like this. You get a nice 2-finger grip right here. You have your thumb available right here to release it, and then you have your 2 fingers here to hold on to it. You simply switch them out, go along here, and that's how you do that. It's not too bad. It's a little bit slower. However, this works both on the standard model and the NATO version. And here's the thing. I want to go ahead and emphasize the fact that this is probably one of the best techniques that you can use, because I actually did have problems with my standard and NATO. The NATO version doesn't have a bolt release, but it should lock open on the last shot fired. But if you get, if you don't get enough gas to actually push it back all the way, you might not get it to lock back. So I had that problem a couple times, and I've had that problem with almost every rifle I've ever owned. It can happen, except for things like the PTR 91, which doesn't lock back anyways. So it's a pretty reliable method anyways, because you're going to be sitting there jacking out rounds during malfunctions, and so you can get accustomed to threading your hand in there and just going in there and jacking the round out, or whatever you need to do. So pretty consistent, something you're going to use a lot. So anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the next method. Next method is the HK style reload. So basically what this is you lock back the bolt, you take the magazine out, you put a new one in, and you unlock the bolt and let it ride home on the recoil spring tension to let the recoil spring do all the work. So this method is reliable, but it has a caveat. On the railed system, this is what I was talking about as far as the rail actually getting in the way. And so if you have a sighted model, like maybe you even have like one of their STG-77s with the old school sight where it actually gets in the way less, or maybe you got one of the older versions and you just use that receiver on your A3. So you can do that and it'll be less obstructive. But there's other things like the Ratworks. I believe there's a Ratworks charging handle that is actually pointed down more. That way it makes it easier to lock it up without getting in the way of the rail. So that might be an option for you. However, let's go ahead and run through this real quick. So we're going to start with the bolt closed. So basically, you're out, And whether or not the bolt lock's open, you'll be good with this method, because what you're going to do is you're going to open it anyways and lock it immediately in the upward position. And what I like to do is I like to go ahead and pull it and have upward tension at the same time. That way it pushes right into, it's a little recess here. So you can see there's a little bit of a recess right here for it, and the polymer goes right into this nice little square recess. So that's what you're aiming for. And even if the bolt does lock back on the last shot fired, it still just makes it easier to take pressure off the magazine, and then it can drop out. And so, we'll drop that one, get in a new one, and then you just flick it home, and the recoil spring does all the work. So, we'll just have it locked open, and we'll be out. Then do that, lock it, and that's as simple as it is. You just lock it, take the magazine out, and you notice I didn't have to take it out of my shoulder at all for that. That's one of the things I like about bullpups. But anyways, that's an option. Of course, you can retain a magazine and do that, and it'll actually be a lot easier, because you won't have to sit there and jack around while you're holding a magazine. You can just sit there and boop, and you're loaded up and ready to go for the next round. So let's go ahead and get to the other reload method. This next style of reload is the AK style reload, and you can probably tell that I'm not really too excited to do this one, because it's really a novelty reload, and it's just a fancy way of reloading, kind of like the Iraqi style AK reload, where they hold the bolt and they exchange the magazine and let it go, so they don't actually have to charge it. It's kind of weird, and that's really basically, this is the equivalent of that, just kind of odd. So, and it's not really that reliable. It's not even as reliable as the Iraqi AK reload. So anyways, you're empty, and I've got the bolt locked back here, so we're gonna go ahead and try this out. So I have moderate luck. Basically, 5 out of 10 times I can get it to work. So there we go. So on the first one, didn't go. I had to sit there and do this number like I was stroking it backwards to actually get this button to be hit all the way, because if you just push here, it might not go all the way, and you'll need a good amount of force. So basically what's happening here is I'm taking this and I'm just stroking the button. A lot of people say, well, basically you're supposed to hit the button and then kick the magazine out. You don't even really need to do that. Just let it fall under its own weight. What it was basically the equivalent of just going like this. That's it. Just use your thumb. If you really want to be that fancy, just use your thumb on the side and while you're holding the magazine, and that's it. So I don't really prefer the AK method of trying to use the magazine to depress the button. It makes no sense. When your thumb is right there and it's reliable, you can feel it, and your thumb's going to grab onto it because of the texturing on here. It's textured, so your thumb will grab onto it. It'll be fine. So anyways, that's the AK style reload. Not really a fan of it. As you can see, it doesn't always work all the time, even if you're being, a little Hulk on it. So anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the next method. Last method I'm going to show you is basically just using the bolt release. This does not work on the NATO version because there is no bolt release. So it can lock back on the last shot fired, but you're basically stuck with the H&K method, as we talked about before, and the standard slingshot method, which is fine. Those are actually more reliable. However, a lot of people like the fast idea of the bolt release, but that's in terms of reliability and consistency, not so much, because you can miss the button and stuff like that, and this is a lot easier to get a hold of in general anyways, or just do the H&K method. If you have a sight on there, or you get the extra piece of the extra charging handle that is downward more, it'll be a little more reliable to do the H&K method, and I would prefer that. So anyways, let's go ahead and get into the bolt release method. So I found this kind of interesting. It's basically just like the AR as far as like when it's locked back, all you have is this little button right here to push, and it sends the bolt home, and it's from the top here, and it's an angled piece, so it's not really hard to find, and the way it's angled, your thumb goes right up to it, so you're putting a little upward pressure as you're moving up, and it releases the bolt pretty quick. So anyways, I can demonstrate this without snap caps, so I'll go ahead and do that real quick. And first thing I'll do is a demonstration on actually retaining the magazine. So anyway, you go in here, you're out of ammo, like, oh, okay, you just grab your other ammo, do your 2-finger hold right there, you retain the other magazine, and you have to press the button. Not too intuitive to do that. So anyways, we'll go ahead and just do the dump method. And you can do that while you have the other magazine in your hand. You can actually, throw that magazine out. But I find with my smaller hands, it's kind of harder to hold this and release the magazine at the same time, the prior magazine, the empty one. So anyways, I just do the dump first. So basically, just like that, get the new one in, and you're good to go. So it doesn't take very long to do it. It is faster. However, if the bolt doesn't lock open, you're going to have to go the slower route. So you'll have to, actually jack it and, put it back into action. So anyways, those are the ways that you can reload the Steyr AUG. And you saw me do the exchange, basically like the tactical reload. So if you have a magazine, you can hold on to the magazine while you're getting in here. This is a 42 rounder going in, so it's pretty easy once you get the hang of it. However, like you just saw, it can slip out of your hand. Not really that great of a grip, and it's mostly because you have to use your thumb. However, if you have the NATO model, it should be a lot easier because you can just use your index finger to push the little button. So I'll go ahead and demonstrate that real quick. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the NATO magazine release. This is a second magazine release. You just depress that, magazine comes out, but you can still release it from the bottom. The bottom's a little more positive, but anyways, I do like the side release if you can actually get your thumb to be there consistently. But this does help with the tactical reloads if you guys are into that. So basically, you can just get I would go with a 2-finger grip, and I'll show you why in a second. I'll do the forehand. I might as well just do the beer can grip. So you take your index finger and your ring finger, and you hold on to it, and your forearm is going to try to push it just like that. So that's why I recommend the 2-finger grip, and I'll go ahead and show you that. So basically, 2-finger grip. You go up, and it's not as obtrusive. Or you can try the little L release. Basically, you palm this one just like that, and you change it out just like that. The grip will get in the way a little bit, but it's a lot better and more positive if you do it that way rather than going this way. And it's pretty intuitive. You can find the button pretty easily. It's in a pretty intuitive place, but it's not really that great doing tactical reloads in anyways. Like, you usually have time. If you're able to do tactical reloads, it means you have time. So you can just take out your old magazine, put it in your dump pouch, and reach for your other one. This is not a speed reload, so I don't know why people are like, well, 1 for 1. Usually you should be finding cover and stuff like that. But anyways, to each their own. So if you wish, go ahead and leave a comment below, and please subscribe to my channel. Give it a like if you liked it. So also visit my blog at doitright.org, and check me out on Facebook, facebook.com/doitright YouTube. So anyways, I will be doing more videos like this with other firearms, so go ahead and look forward to that in the future. And thanks a lot for watching. You guys have a good one.